Hello Resonators, today we are going over the Abyss or the Tower of Adversity of the game. It's one of the many endgame events in Wuthering waves. I've also been seeing a lot of wrong tier lists and misinformation floating around, so let's try to go over one of the most useful characters of the game and which ones are priority. People are rating Rover as a C or D tier character, which is fake news, because Rover is the perfect free-to-play character which is both good for end and mid game. As you can see here, I cleared most of the stages with Rover solo instead of it requiring a full team, along with clearing one of the endgame bosses with Rover and Verena as the support character. Rover is so good that they were even able to secure a new record in the Fusion dungeon out-damaging Encore. Now let's check out the full Tower of Adversity. In this endgame mode, there are 3 zones, which is the Fusion, Electro, and Aero zones. I will deep dive on the characters that I use in this zone after I explain how this mode works. Each character has a stamina vigor limit or how many times they can answer a stage. For example, floor 1 consumes 1 vigor, floor 2 consumes 2 vigor, floor 3 consumes 3 vigor, and floor 4 consumes 4 vigor, which totals up to 10 vigor. You will need to manage and assign all your characters properly to each zone and transfer echoes between each of all your characters along with their weapons if you want to clear a Tower of Adversity early. Let's start off with the Tower of the Deep 1, which is called the Fusion Zone. The first 2 stages are rather easy. You can clear this with any character you want. In this case, we are going to use our favorite MC to their full potential. This third stage will require you to play at least one Aero character that can mob things up. You can either use Chanson or Yang Yang. Do note, Yang Yang's Vortex is a lot smaller compared to Chanson's R5, which gathers the whole zone. She's a really good character to have in the tower, especially if you have more dupes of her. Moving on, Rover and Verena combo should suffice enough for the final floor of the dungeon of this fusion area. If you manage to get an Encore and have her leveled up, you can also use her instead of Rover as she gets a fusion bonus from this zone. However, she is definitely not a must pull at the moment, and Rover is more than enough. The Tower of the Deep 2 is an Electro zone and the place where Calchero shines. Calchero is a stable guild character in this zone and is required if you're around level 70. Both of these floors have 5 vigor costs because they have level 100 boss fights in them. Thankfully, the Abyss or the Tower of this mode is a bit friendly towards underleveled characters. Unlike the hologram challenges, this mode has a lot more room for error towards the casual community as getting hit doesn't instantly one-shot you for 70,000 damage. Calchero should be able to solo the first floor alone, but if you want to make your life easier, you can give him a support character. Just make sure you're managing your vigor wisely between all of your characters. The second floor was probably the hardest out of all, mainly due to the fact that this floor has mobs that can heal each other. If you don't gather them all up, you're likely to time over until you get better gear. Honestly, the biggest skill check right now is timing over until people farm better echoes, or get to level 80 plus and with perfect sets. Once again, Jansen shines in here along with Calchero, and I'm planning to get as much copies of both of these characters on release. Moving on to the Tower of the Deep 3, which is Aero damage bonuses. We are going to use our remaining vigor charges for both Rover and Chanson in here. Although they said Chanson was getting buffed, I wouldn't call her a main DPS. I would still pick Verena over her, especially if you are going to be free to play. If you manage to roll a Gion, this tower should be easier to clear. Although not needed, we ended up using Mortefi for the third floor to further increase Gion's liberation ultimate damage. I'm pretty sure he can handle all of this floor on his own, but I was just doing a bit of testing to see how much more damage he does with Mortefi, and well, here it is on the screen. Alright, now it's time for the final floor. This one was rather easy with the Verena and Gion combo. I didn't have him at max resonance, but from what I hear, he becomes insanely powerful if you manage to max his resonance. I wouldn't be surprised if he can clear this whole Tower of the Deep just him solo without any helpers at all, if you have him at max dupes or copies, especially in the higher levels of the game. And that should clear up all the endgame stages of the Tower of Adversity. As you can see, there are certain characters that aren't really needed from the standard banner, such as Ling Yang and Encore. I do have a video guide listing all the pros and cons of each standard banner characters that you can check out sometime. In short, we have a Fusion, Electro, and Aero stage which may change on release. But seeing as both limited characters are Electro Yinlin and Aero Jian, let's hope the Tower of Adversity stays the same. Don't sleep on Rover and Verena. Both are super useful characters, and as much as I really like Chansin, she needs dupes. And I would not select her as my first pick for the standard banner. But they did mention she is getting buffed, so we will see. This video is just a minimalist setup. You can actually take full teams of 3 if you have their gear and echoes leveled up and with proper vigor management. If you ended up using a character on stage but you think it's better on a different floor, you can reset that floor and use them somewhere else. You're not locked into a specific area or dungeon. However, your precious resources are, so make sure you level up useful characters and don't break your account. But Sep, what about Danjin? I thought she was the best! Well, I think she's kinda overtuned in the previous betas, but so they might nerf her? RIP. But if they didn't nerf her, you should definitely level Danjin over Rover. So that's all the tips I can give. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to smash that like and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is your brother, Steparu, out.